Get in again.
Again, it's getting a bit repetitive. This does it?
I think last season we didn't put two of these shows together in a row.
I know.
No, we didn't.
All positive. But welcome to the Loaded Mag Brentford review. And tonight I'm joined by Daz, Pete, and Party Mart. Chris is out on the lash with his good, better half for her birthday. So happy birthday, Lisa, from all the lads at Loaded. Hope you have a good night. And hopefully,
I got that wrong.
Hopefully, Christopher's Avon commission has been put to good use today, and he's spoilt you rotten. Just like Newcastle have spoilt us rotten now. 7 games unbeaten. One of our best runs since, I think, 2011 was mentioned today. So a fantastic run. And today the team sheet came out, and no surprise that it was no changes to it. I think all the lads would probably agree that you don't really change a winning side unless there's an injury, and there was no cause to change. The team that did a fantastic result at West Ham last week probably deserved the win at West Ham last week. So, Daz, would you agree that that was the starting line that we should have went with today?
Yeah, so, okay. You had no SM, that was what we talked about last night, and he obviously wasn't on the bench either, potentially still in Monaco, and Mankio was on the bench, so it look like he wasn't completely match fit, but Kraft did a job today, so it didn't hurt us in one way at all, in any form. So yeah, it was what we had to go with, and we get into the rest of it in a little while.
Yeah, Mart, what did you make of the starting lineup? Were you the same as what me and Daz thought? Just literally go with what you started with and keep a good thing going?
Yeah, look, I think if you look at any team that's, we spoke about it earlier in the season, was about getting some consistency in the team. We all know, from the manager who was here prior, the constant chopping and changing and putting, round pegs in square holes, left us where we did. So it's good to see that Eddie is not chopping and changing, despite some of the clamour from Newcastle fans to get Bruno in the team. I don't think you break up that midfield three at the moment for me. Chris Wood is there, as we spoke about the other night. You guys spoke about it on the show last night. He's there to do a job. Okay, he was unlucky not to get a goal today from what I've seen, but yeah, it was a good starting lineup, and I think they deserve their places in it. So those that are on the bench have got to work hard to get back into it.
Pete, I think we touched on it briefly during the show last night. There was no surprise with the starting lineup, and I think you'd probably agree, as long as obviously what we've just said there with Mark, myself, and Daz. The starting lineup did itself justice last week, and just keep it going today.
Yeah, it is very difficult to change a winning team and a team that's working as hard as these boys are. So, it wasn't necessarily a surprise. I did mention last night that, don't also be surprised if we change that up and maybe Bruno comes in. But I think in our congestion fixtures with Southampton and Everton, I think that's where you may see some changes in the first team. But yeah, no surprise to see that they were fully deserving, every single one of them, of their start today off the back of a really good performance against West Ham. Yeah,
I think the only thing the tactical thing that we saw really was probably that Murphy and Fraser pretty much switched flanks from what they were last week. Murphy was more down the left last week, but we saw Ryan Fraser mainly on the left. Yes, they did interchange a little bit today, but not as much. And Fraser was majority on the left and Murphy on the right, which is, to be fair, I think that was one of the things we actually mentioned last night on the show. We felt that was probably the two best options, and to be fair, both did pretty well today. I guess Fraser had another fantastic game. Obviously, we'll go in there a bit. To be fair, obviously, we started the game pretty well. And for the first 10 minutes, I still think we were the dominant side today, even before the major turning point after 10 minutes when Mike Dean gave a free kick against Newcastle. And obviously, we were wondering what was going on while there was a little bit of treatment going on to Matty Target. And all of a sudden, there's a VAR call, and then the picture comes up on the screen. And you see this by De Silva. And it's, as you can see, I think the lads will probably agree with this. it wasn't malicious. It was more plant ways to try to protect the ball from your opponent. Unfortunately, obviously, Target's got there and the planting leg's gone straight into his shin. It's not a nice picture. That obviously you can see the slight bend in Target's lower leg there. So that could have been a lot worse. Luckily, he was able to continue. And once the VAR called Mike Dean over at the monitor, there was only one thing that was going to happen, and that was the inevitable red card that followed, and De Silva had to walk. So that was the turning point. But lads, do you think that we were on top before that? Anyway, obviously, once that red card went in, there was no looking back really, and I thought Newcastle had to take advantage of that. But do you think it would have made a change to the result, Daz? Or do you just think it compounded the fact that 3 points was probably more on the cards for Newcastle?
We were slightly ahead at that stage. It wasn't because I remember Brentford had a few chances as well just early on, and then but that was the massive turning point. I still think we probably would have won, but it wouldn't have been as convincing. But and as we were saying just right before the kickoff with Tony and Ericsson on the bench, if we had gotten say 60 minutes and as Pete pointed out last night and they started bringing them on, then it could have been a game changer. It could have gone either way then, I suppose. But yeah, the foul which Mike Dean gave a free kick, as we talked about before, gave the free kick to Brentford first, and then when you play back the replay, you go, hey, that's a red card. Where is his foot going there? So then when Mike Dean then got the call, and he looked very surprised that he had to go over to the monitor, and you could see then it was a clear red card with the tackle, and yeah, down Brentford down to 10 men. So game on and an advantage to us, and then all our eyes and phones lit up at that stage, and we knew what was coming. We're just making sure of it then, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously, Martin, you unfortunately weren't able to get to see the game live, but unfortunately you've seen a little bit of the highlights because you were stuck at work, unfortunately. With the obviously, Brentford can be a dangerous side on the day. Obviously, we've seen that at the start of the season. And De Silva is one of those attacking players where that attacking three that they had on with De Silva and Mbeumo, they can cause problems on the day. And I think even when De Silva went off, and you lose, and obviously Tony was on the bench. Obviously, he's been out with favour and had a bit of injury and stuff as well. They still look to have that two up front. And I think that was, obviously, they wanted to try and get the attacking threat. But do you think realistically they looked as though they were really going to get into the game and hold that formation after Silva went off?
I think from what I've seen, and I have, as I said to you lads, I've only watched the highlights there this evening there because as you said, I was stuck in work. I think there's a couple of things. I think with the tackle, going back to the tackle first and foremost, it wasn't. I don't think it was malicious, but it was a horrible tackle. When you look at it and you kind of play it back a couple of times, the angle of the leg and the full foot on, we could have been without a left back and a right back due to pretty serious injuries. So I think it's just lucky that obviously it didn't turn out to be something was. So I think it was a red card. It was the right decision. I think for me, despite Brentford's setup, I think it was the right time to play them because they're not in great form. I think, if we'd have played them earlier in the season, they were kind of cooking with gas. And I think they're just off the boil at the moment. So I think even if they'd have kept De Silva on, I still think we would have won that game today because I think we're in the vein of form. So for me, I think they were beatable anyway, even with the 11. I think the two pleasing things for me from what I have seen is, one is sometimes when you play against 10 men, Newcastle in particular, we can be fucking awful at times and we struggle against 10. So for me, I thought the game management from Eddie and the team and the players was excellent. And the fact that we didn't struggle against 10, we spread the play, we used our players effectively, we used the extra man effectively, and we took the goals and we took the points. And I think it's been a long time since we've actually done so well from a game management perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree. We'll get onto that a little bit later. But Pete, what did you make of the red card? Was it a definite red for you? And do you think it was a game changer, or do you think Newcastle would have still went on and got the result?
Well, first and foremost, we were the better team even before the incident anyway. If it wasn't for a little touch from the defender, John Joe Shelby would have had a clear shot on goal on the edge of the area, and who knows, that could have gone in and put us 1-0 up. But look, we have to remember that De Silva is their best player. Lewis on away days talked about it. They were buzzing the fact that he was back in the team and that he makes the difference. But he's got history doing it. He did it a couple of years ago. The same tackle, the same holding off the ball, the same type of incident. And, you know, people in Sky Sports and people in BT Sport and all the rest of them can say, oh, it wasn't malicious, it wasn't intentional. But if it's causing harm or potential serious harm to the other player on the pitch, whether it's intentional or not, it's a red card. It's as simple as that. We had a similar one where we had a Southampton player sent off the game before lockdown initially in 2020, a similar type of challenge. I can't remember who it was on, but they got a red card off the back of that. It wasn't intentional, but it was a serious foul play and it could have caused serious harm. So at the end of the day, he has to go. And look, the player wasn't complaining. The player walked straight off. He knew the situation. And you know what? You go back to that still, that's a leg breaking challenge, whether he means it or not, right? The way in which his legs bent that way. What he's trying to do, he's literally on the swivel. He's trying to hold the ball off. You know what he's doing. He's trying to be big and strong, hold the ball off, but he's on the swivel at the same time. He's lucky that he was on the swivel, because if he'd have gone to plant his foot down to hold his ground, to hold the ball, it'd have snapped his leg. He would have snapped his leg. No two ways about it. He would have snapped his leg if he was going to plant himself and be big and solid and hold the ball up. The fact that he's on the swivel and trying to hold the ball off on the turn has actually saved Matty Targett from a broken leg. And actually, you know, even with that, he was lucky to still be able to be on the pitch and have a huge influence in the game. So, look, there's no question from me. But look, if anyone didn't realise, Josh De Silva has got history. He's done it before. So, it's not the first time.
No, it isn't, and it probably won't be the last either. But obviously, that as I've said, that you know, Brentford went out at 10 then, and I think going forward, we didn't look like we were going to lose the game. I think one of the things that we said a few times now with WhatsApp chat as the game was going on was the one thing Newcastle had to do, and I think this is something that we've seen quite a few times under Eddie Howe. This team's patient. They don't make rash decisions. They still try to play football the right way, get forward the right way, and obviously having that extra man on the pitch. We had a lot of space, and I think one person that looked a threat constantly throughout the game, especially in the first half, was Ryan Fraser. The amount of space he was getting down that left-hand side, he was causing Ayo and no ends of trouble all day. It was that little and large combination. Any ball that was put up to him in the air was pretty much won by Ayo, but Ayo was getting skinned by him all day long on that right-hand side. And the variation of the ball that was coming in by Fraser, I thought was absolutely fantastic. There wasn't just the hit and hope. He was looking up, and there was the occasional low cross, the little dink cross, the one that teases the goalkeeper. He was putting them to the back post as well, and it looked as though Daz, that Chris Wood actually might have got off his broke his duck today. He had a few chances and stuff in the first half, and there was a lot of headers, as I mentioned, that were on target before we actually broke the deadlock. But what were you thinking when those crosses were coming for the rest? Did you think it was a matter of time, or were you starting to get a little bit nervous as we were missing these chances?
I was thinking, I'm glad I said last night that he was going to score. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself there, Richie. And it was like we were playing to his strengths, getting the ball, the crosses in, and he was getting his head in it, or there was one or two headers that he could do with a bit more power, or maybe a bit higher up, and they would have gone in. So I thought, hey, it's going to happen for, and you knew by him he's really desperate to get the goal now. And I thought today he was going to get it. That's probably maybe the only downer about today, that he didn't get his goal to break the duck and go and move on from there. But look, it's getting closer and closer. And in the past, when I've said someone score, they normally score the next week. So
Well, to be fair, Willock did last week for you, Daz. He did say exactly, Willock last week. He got back on the score sheet. But Mart, obviously, we were playing a bit more towards Chris Wood's strength today. But I think the other thing is we were getting a lot of the rest of the teams were supporting him as well. And even from like the set pieces, we had a lot of, obviously, Dan Byrne up there. Shaw got on the end of quite a few as well. was it nice to see us going back to actually play to Wood's strengths rather than just being used as like a hold-up man, using the other side of his game in the attacking quarter?
Yeah, listen, I think, let's not forget that earlier in the season, Daz said that Woods would never, ever score a goal for Newcastle.
That's a challenge for him.
I know, but I am going to rub your face in that when it does eventually happen.
It's true so far, though.
He will score.
I'm afraid.
But you know what? Obviously, I wasn't on the show last night, as most people know. My little girl's not well. But I listened to Pete, and I thought Pete's point was really, really good. And I said it in the chat as well. I don't fully think, yes, he's a striker, but I don't fully believe the role that Howe has in playing. He's been brought necessarily just to provide goals. He's been brought up to get us up to the pitch, get us further up, and enable us to transition better up the pitch by being able to get the knockdowns, ruffle defenses, and allow us to bring other players into the play that we haven't been able to do. So I think he'll score. I thought that Fraser today was outstanding from what I've seen. Some of the ball in, the player down that left-hand side, he's the player that, he's the player for me that I've seen today. That is the player that I've seen play for Scotland at times, which is just, he's a bloody handful when he's on form. So listen, long may it continue. But I thought some of the ball in, some of the crosses, the variations. Look, Wood will score goals, and I think other people will score goals off of that. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to goals shortly. But yeah, I thought the two of them played really well, and Wood will come good. But I'm not worried he's not scoring. I'm actually not. So if the team keeps winning, again, since he's been in the team, we haven't lost. He's playing a role that's been assigned to him. I'm sure he wants to score. At the end of the day, he's a striker, right? Look, he was unlucky today, dead unlucky. He should have scored. And it'll come. But listen, keep doing what you're doing. He's grafting. And anybody for me in a black and white shirt, all I want them to do is put effort in. So I've no issues with Chris Wood at all. And anybody that's getting on his back because he's not scoring is a fucking knobhead, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. Pete, do you agree with that as well? That, Wood was unlucky with his chances that he had in the first half. Either not enough power or, it just we also got Rio on a good day as well. I think it was 9 shots he actually saved as well. So it could have been a rugby score by the time if Rio hadn't have been in it. And we always both times we've had away days. Both guests have said that Rio's part of the reason why Brentford do well, and you could tell he's hands down their best number one, and a lot of things start from the back. And but I think Wood was unlucky today, and to be fair, I agree with what Mark said, and I also we touched on it again last night that there's no reason to be giving Wood hassle really. Yes, okay, he's goal scoring, which is what he's paid for, but he's also paid, as Martin just mentioned, to help us get up the pitch, to help ruffle a defence and stuff. Even like little balls up today, like I saw Kraft put a ball up the right flank, and it was just more of like a ball that was hitting hope the flank. Hopefully Murphy could chase. But what you saw Wood go across to put pressure on the defender, and the defender had to put the ball out for a throw. So we've literally turned the possession on the pitch just through pressure alone. And sometimes that little thing doesn't go unnoticed to me. I know obviously Martin said it as well, and I know that's something that you won't go unnoticed by yourself. So do you still back up what you said last night, that Chris Wood is playing well, albeit he hasn't broke his duck yet?
Yeah, I thought he had a very good game again. The only chance that he had in the game that I thought he could have done better, I think it might have been the first one, where he he's arrived at the back post and he's kind of headed it to the nearest post towards him, where he could have gone across goal. He had time as well. If it had gone back across goal, he would have set the goalkeeper off, because the goalkeeper was going back to his near post. If it had gone far post, the keeper wouldn't have got there. He probably would have scored. But look, it's a split second. You make a decision. It is what it is. But all the other ones, I thought the goalkeeper did well. But ultimately, I actually think Brentford's formation was their own downfall with regards to managing Chris Wood, is because they played 3 centre-backs. When you play 2 centre-backs, they're closer together and they're able to marshal that guy in the middle. The fact that, and you guys have just alluded to it, the fact that Ryan Fraser had Ayer on toast today, every opportunity he was destroying him down our left-hand side. He was then having to occupy himself with Fraser, so it left a huge gap in there.
Wood had space to pick and choose.
Yeah,
he can play off either defender. Exactly.
Yeah, well, it was mostly because the other one, Pinnock, on the other side, wasn't really coming in. So it was really one-on-one. It was kind of Wood against Janssen. And he was getting in front of him, he was getting behind him, and he didn't know what to do. So their formation was actually their downfall, and it worked in Wood's favour. But Wood, you could tell, was desperate for a goal today. As soon as De Silva went off, he thought, I've got a goal in me today. Yeah. And even right towards the end, I don't know if you noticed it, where they work a really nice ball inside, and it falls to Almiron, and if Almiron just needs to play it first time inside, and Wood's in on goal, and he cuts it and takes a shot, and he works the keeper. It's a decent effort, but you see Wood's face and his reaction to it. Even though it was a good effort, he's like, "Why are you not putting me in? Like, I want my goal." But equally, Almiron wants to impress, and he wanted to try and get on the score sheet as well. But you can tell that's just the desperation from Wood. But sometimes desperation with a player can affect their performances because they're desperate to just get a goal. His performances haven't differed. He's played very well, very well, and stuck to his task. And that's all we can ask. Look, if that's all that Chris Wood does in a Newcastle shirt between now and the end of the season for his whole Newcastle career, I don't think any Newcastle fan would complain, because that would ensure we stay in the league and our future's set. And if he does that, he'll still go away, even if he's not scored a goal, a legend, because he's done what he's needed to do. He's done what he's needed to do in a real crucial part in our history. Yeah. And we have to remember that. So goals. We want goals, but his play for me is making up for that.
Yeah, I think to me, Pete, he's and I know obviously he got a couple of goals while he was with it, but for me, he's another type of Daryl Murphy. Yeah. He doesn't shine the bright lights. He's not a 20 goal a season man, but he grafts his socks off. He works hard for the team. He believes in the cause. He gives it everything in the shirt. And if he scores, he scores. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I would have absolutely been the same with Daryl Murphy. I wouldn't have been bothered if he scored. You look at the game against Brighton and Huddersfield where Daryl Murphy did score. Listen, they were bonuses, but when he was in the team, he was a bloody handful. And he was just very, very clever striker, even though he wasn't prolific. And Chris Wood is exactly the same.
He scored 5 and 15. 5 and 15 for us. Yeah, just check.
If you look at
it's a similar player to me. Very similar.
All Daryl Murphy's goals were key goals.
They were. Right.
And it'll be the same with Chris Wood. He might only score 2 or 3 goals this season, but there'll be important goals. There'll be goals that will make the difference in a game and make the difference to our season. So
it'll be the winner against Burnley that relegates Burnley. Oh, imagine that! Holy shit balls.
I hope so. And I hope he celebrates as well if he does score.
Yeah, you can guarantee that one, don't you? We always have our ex-players come back to haunt us, so hopefully Chris Wood will go back to haunt Burnley in the last game of the season. But just before we get on to the goals now, just want to give everyone a shout out, just because we've got just under 200 people watching live, which, on a Saturday night, we really appreciate that. People are meant to be getting ready to go out and stuff like that, so we really appreciate you watching. Like the video if you enjoy the content we're putting on there. Do that with all the shows that we put out there as well. But also, if you haven't subscribed, it is free to join. Help us reach that 3,000 subs. It's much appreciated. And also, if you like the content that much and you want to be a member of the channel and take part in exclusive draws that we have on a month-to-month basis, also just click on the membership button there. It's $1.99 a month, and you get into all the exclusive draws that we put on as well. We've given a Newcastle shirt away this year. There's also the sponsors and draws that we do as well. And while we're on with the sponsors, we'll get onto them straight away. And as per usual, start off with Bronwyn and Black and White Army. She has got a new range coming out soon, but she still has got a few of the t-shirts and bobble hats that are on the website at the moment. It's still quite cold in the northeast, so she might still shift quite a few of those at the minute. So we've also got our charity partner, Shy Burns, mental health charity, and it's a fantastic work that Simon does there. Martin's actually wearing one of the t-shirts tonight. If he wants to show it off there.
Yeah, there you go. Mental health is not a dirty secret.
And that is absolute shit. What we've always said when we've done shows before in the past, you sometimes you feel as though you've defeated yourself by actually admitting to someone, but it's one of the most important things you can do. Is important to talk to someone. They've got some fantastic caps, hoodies and stuff like that, and t-shirts on the website as well. And also recently joined us as a sponsor is Pins and Prints. Some fantastic stuff on their website as well. They've got a couple of Jonas Gutierrez pins, but they mainly go on the Prince, which is doing all the success at the moment. So stuff like you can have a goal of your choice. So we've got Kieran Trippier here and Cisse as our examples. Could be your favourite player that you might want knocked up, like a bit like Martin's got. I don't know if you've got your frame yet, Martin. Have you?
No,
But you've actually got this.
Still, still with the bloody framers. Yeah.
Okay, no bother. Okay. That's all right. Last time someone does a nice favour, Jess. Do you know what I mean? Never mind.
You're trying to sell it to me, Rich.
Well, I tell you, we're talking about nice favours. We won't mention Simon, Shy Baines, and Customs. They're 3 words you don't want to put together. But anyway, that's a whole different story.
And then we've got like the 95-96 combo shirt. And I'll tell you what, we'll finish on this pitch tonight because it leads us perfectly in to the next part of the show. And that's Big Joe.
I'll tell you what, Ant and Decker got nothing on you. Fuck me.
Well, I've got to be good at something more, however. But as I said, takes us straight into the next part, and it takes us into the first goal. It's quite funny what Pete actually mentioned about Chris Wood could have possibly, the one chance he could have done better with was head across the goal. Now this time Fraser puts a fantastic ball in, and you see Big Joe attacking the ball. And it's something we actually talked about in the West Ham game that Craig Dawson did from that free kick. He got a run on someone, got better of them, and that's exactly what we were crying out for Newcastle players to do last week. And this week, Joelinton did it, and it was an absolutely fantastic header from the cross, and you could see how much it meant to him as he after he headed the ball to the bottom corner, the far post, and he literally ran the whole entire length of the pitch to the Geordies in the corner. He made it all the way down to Brentford, and you could just see how much that goal meant to him and how much he's appreciating all the support of the fan base over recent months. And it was a fantastic goal. Daz, what did you make of it?
Well, first of all, Rich, I'm going to say thanks to Prince Espen Alexander Moreno Borde. Thanks for becoming a member and joining us.
I think you'd be glad enough to say that name every single week, Daz.
I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not getting that on the back of a fucking shirt.
Well, first of all, I delighted when Joelinton scored. Not so delighted though was my son. This is my story on it, because he was sitting beside me and much like your son, but he's only 4.5, Rich. My son, he always liked team playing in blue because blue is his favorite color, and he saw who's playing in blue. I said, that's Newcastle. What? Oh, who's playing in red? Then he wanted to know. But anyway, when Joelinton scored, I went mental, absolutely mental, and he started crying, ran off, slipped on the floor. We had to go to VAR. There was no trip, but no, he wasn't too impressed with me going mental. I told him if we score again, I wouldn't go as mental. So when Joe Willock scored, I couldn't go as mental. But so I didn't see any of that celebration, Rich. So thanks for the pictures. I have to watch it back later on. But yeah, what was the question? Joelinton's goal? Yeah, I was delighted he scored, but my son wasn't. Is my summary?
Daz just went off like divergent there.
Tangent, yes.
Tangent there, Daz.
I think the whole Joelinton thing, Richie, is a really good time to remind viewers that Daz is committed to getting a Joelinton Brazilian tattoo if he does make the Brazilian team. And I think we need to kind of say
and win the World Cup. I said as well.
No, hang on, Daz.
I did.
If he gets in the Brazilian team,
player of the tournament.
To be fair, Daz, there's a good chance he could be in this World Cup squad if he's going good. So
tattoo very, very soon. Yeah,
imagine that final. We have to do that live.
Oh, imagine that.
Martin, I think if that's the case, Martin, I think we should chip in. We can pay for you the petrol cost to go across to Galway and get recorded as it gets on his calf or something like that.
Money. If Joelinton gets in that squad, I will happily go for free and film Daz getting a Joelinton tattoo. No problem, and it will be done live on a show. Not a problem at all. Look, he's been great. I mean, when you think about last season, you think about the amount of stick, including us, sat and gave Joelinton. To be fair, the player he is now to what he was a season and a half ago is unbelievably different. And me, for one, I couldn't be more proud of the lad in that shirt running the length to celebrate with the fans, because I think so far this season he has been absolutely by far the player of the season. I think he's been amazing. Listen, Trippier coming in, the couple of goals he's got and everything else. Listen, quality player. But for me, the turnaround of Joelinton, the credit to Eddie Howe for moving him back, how he's taken up that role as the midfield enforcer for me. He's just quality, and I'm absolutely delighted for him that he's come to where he is, and to get the goal today, I think was just desserts. I think he's been absolutely class all season, and long may it continue.
I think obviously I know Pete will agree with us on this one as well. You know, he's been fantastic over recent weeks, and there's still been some of the fan base who've been giving him grief because he hasn't been getting what he was paid to do. Well, to be fair, he's not in that role anymore. You know, we've got other people that can pick up goals. He's in there now, and I hate to say, he's an out-and-out midfielder now, box-to-box enforcer. That's his new role in this team. And I think as soon as people start to realise that he's not in there to score the goals anymore, they should just appreciate what a fantastic job he's doing. And Pete, you know, I was over the moon he got his goal today, and I know you would have been as well. I think the one thing we could probably be glad of, he got it on his head and not his left foot, because we know what happens when he gets his left foot in and around that 18-yard box. So, but Pete, what did you make of his goal today?
It was a terrific goal. It was just a bullet header. It was a bullet header. He rose up against the defender. Bullet header, as I talked about with the Chris Wood, across goal, away the other opposite side of the keeper. The keeper gets wrong-footed, can't get the other side. A fantastic goal. I don't actually think Joelinton started the game that well, and I was thinking, he started a bit slow, giving the ball away. But that goal, that moment, just completely transformed his game. It was as if it was like the wake-up call. It was like, right, bang, I've scored. I'm ready now. Bang. And he was at it. He was breaking down defences. He was holding on to the ball. He was driving. He did everything that we've come to expect of him. And he is. You're absolutely right. He is now, in my eyes and the eyes of a lot of Newcastle fans, classed as a centre midfielder. He's an all-action centre midfielder, and he has made a tremendous difference to this team. And look, if anyone's watched the Footballers Football podcast from this week, Callum Wilson and Mikel Antonio, the one thing that both of them say is that Callum Wilson says, first and foremost, that all the lads think that Joelinton is already player of the season at Newcastle United. That was the one thing that he mentioned. The second thing is that Mikel Antonio, when he was asked the question after the game at the weekend, who was he most impressed with? The first person he said, Joelinton, and he couldn't believe how good he was, and the fact that we've been able to change him from a striker that we paid 40 million for to now a centre midfielder who is all action and is tearing midfielders up on a weekly basis. So, you know, if you've got other professionals that you work with, but also from the opposition, that are bigging you up and talking about you in a real positive way, that tells you everything you need to know about what you're doing on the pitch. And he's proved again today. A fantastic performance.
Yeah,
I think the thing with him is he's a real confidence player. When his confidence high, you can see that. And as Pete said, you know, obviously from the start of it, you know, he was a little bit out of sorts, but he got that goal, and the confidence is there to believe in his own ability. I think obviously you can see how he's working hard to keep that confidence level up for the games, to say, listen, you know, here's some highlights from last week. That's what you can do. Yeah. So go out there and do it consistently, and he's been doing that. So I think, you know, yes, it's been great to see the improvement in him, but I think there's a lot of credit has to go down to the likes of Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall and the team behind the scenes, because they've changed the guy massively.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think once that Daz has dropped off. I don't know if his internet must have froze, but I think going on to the second goal. Just before the second, we felt when we were talking the chat, it was a matter of time before Newcastle scored the second, and literally just before that half time, Brentford had a corner, and Newcastle do what they do best with having the speed in the team. It was a fantastic break, and I must admit, and I'm happy to admit, I actually thought it was Chris Wood that played the ball through for Willock, who made an absolutely blinding run, box to box, to get on the end of a sublime pass by Fabian Schär. I didn't realise he was that far at the pitch. That's why I thought it was Chris Wood when I put it in the chat. I had to apologise. I couldn't believe it was Fab Schär, because one, the quality of the ball that far up the pitch, with his wrong foot as well. But it was just literally to there straight for Willock just to literally walk onto and place it above Rhea. He didn't have to do anything. He just literally had to put it where he wanted to do, and that was it, in the back of the net. And it was a fantastic goal. And we got to see that amazing celebration of Willock again, twice in a week now. And he seems to be, that person who we thought was perhaps lacking a bit of match fitness, which we've touched on a few shows in the past. He had a wretched pre-season, had COVID, hadn't played much because obviously the Arsenal deal dragged on. He wasn't getting any game time with them, and he pretty much took his time to get his season going. But I think if you look, since he's had that Saudi break, and since January, like a lot of players, he's just been undroppable. He's been fantastic, and he's rightfully keeping people like Bruno on the bench. Mart, I don't know if you've had a chance to see the goal, but if you did, what did you make of it all?
No, I did see the goal, mate. I think the finish is impeccable. I mean, he just opens himself up and right foots it in. The ball from Shaw, I thought was class. Really made the goal. Surprised to see Shaw as far up and kind of winning the header and then breaking from the defence. Like yourself, I actually thought it was Chris Wood to begin with. But the ball in made the goal. But Willock's finish was just top class. And I think hopefully, touch wood, or Chris Wood, we can say that Joe Willock is back. 2 goals in 2 games. He's starting to run into form at the right time. And I think, again, we said at the start of the show, they're clamoring to get Bruno into the team. His time will come. I think Pete's 100% right. The fixtures coming up in the next while, I think you'll see more and more game time. 30-odd minutes of them today. But the 3 in the middle at the minute, Shelvey, Willock and Joelinton, they're playing out of their skins. It's hard to break up that midfield 3. And I think you've got to give Eddie Howe credit. He's doing the right thing. Lascelles is not back in. How do you break up Shaw and Big Dan Burn?
You can't.
Get Trippier back. Exactly. You cannot break up that defence at the minute. We're not conceding. We're playing well. So, yeah, look, top goal from a top... Listen, we know that Joe Willock is a top player, right? And he's now reproven that again. Let's hope he goes on another one of these runs with another 7 or 8 goals. He's a great player.
No, completely agree. You're right what you said about Dan Burn and Shaw. You look at one goal in 3 games with them as our centre-back partnership. You can't let Lascelles back in. And unfortunately, Bruno's been unlucky. Yes, we get to see him a little bit in the second half. And I'm just going to focus on this Joe Willock goal before I mention, but we'll talk about a little bit Bruno before we round it off, because I think if we look at it, I think the best thing we can really say about the second half was we controlled the game in the second half, and there wasn't as many talking points. Yes, Brentford had their little, 5-10 minute spell where they looked, they put a little bit of pressure on, but Newcastle stood firm. But just going back to Joe Willock's goal, it was the perfect way to round off the first half. Pete, what did you make of it?
Sorry, I missed that because there was a chance for Man City, so I missed that.
All right. No, just what did you make of the Willock goal?
It smacked of a player that is confident in his game at the moment. And look, if Joe Willock wasn't confident, if it was a Joe Willock Eddie Howe, he wouldn't have finished it the way he would have. He would have ended up putting it wide or scuffed it or just not got the right connection on it. But that was a finish of somebody that is full of confidence at the moment and is really confident in his own game and just generally happy on the pitch. It was a fantastic finish. I actually think the keeper did everything right. His positioning, the way he got down to anticipate Joe Willock's body movement, because he kind of opened up his body as if he was going to go low down that to the goalkeeper's left. So the goalkeeper did everything right, but the fact that he's just kind of tricked him and outplayed him and just lifted the ball over him and into the top of the roof of the net. Fantastic.
Sorry, lads. Sorry, Pete, to interrupt. Breaking news just coming up on Sky there. So Roman Abramovich has handed over stewardship and care of Chelsea to the trustees of Chelsea's charitable foundation with immediate effect.
Ooh. That is massive.
Sorry to interrupt you, Pete.
No,
that's worth it.
So Chelsea has been handed to their charitable foundation by Roman Abramovich with immediate effect.
So something had to be done with that because he's not allowed in the country. but we're still putting money into the club. And then everything that's going on with Russia and Ukraine at the moment was never, ever going to be good for him. That could have massive implications on how we see Chelsea moving going forward. Because he had the money that's made them what they are today. Absolutely. And the fact that he's handed that over means they're in a really difficult position. And actually, they were in a position where they were losing money. I think they lost 150 million last year. So they're not even a club that's actually making money within their club at the moment. They're still losing money because of the amount that they're pumping in and the amount that they're not getting back with regards to revenue and sponsorships and fan payments and all that sort of stuff. They're not even there yet. So the fact that they're losing money and they're not going to have their cash cow to bail them out it has massive implications of how Chelsea move forward. And you know what? If that spot becomes available, I think there's only one team that can come in.
Only one team that's taken that. Exactly.
And there's only one man to take Chelsea over as well. It's Mike Ashley.
Well, that's it. He's the perfect man he's the perfect man when you've got to be self-sufficient, like we were for 14 years. So he'll happily come in. Daz, just before we round off the show, what did you make of the of Willock's goal?
Great goal, great knockdown by Shar, and the pass, the lovely weighted pass. I was thinking he's just going to hit it too far, and the keeper's going to be able to get it, but it was just perfect actually that pass. And we have music.
That was me. Sorry, that's my fault. Sorry. I was just enjoying some tweets from some West Ham fans I know.
I bet the other 5 of that supposed top 6 are jumping for joy right now tonight.
But it's a lovely finish from Willock though. Just class finish. The big Joe and little Joe show today, and I saw a song then as well on a chant. It was like Joe Joelinton, and it goes into John Joe. So it could be something.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. Why don't we have a word with Davy Craig? Should we have a word with Davy Craig and see if he can record that, Daz, and we get it released?
I have to get back to Davy. That reminds me.
So just before, obviously, Mark, I don't know if you'll be able to comment on this, so I'll just ask Pete and Daz quickly. What did you make for the extra time that we saw for Bruno? Obviously, you got 25, 30 minutes in the second half. Start with you, Pete. What did you make of Bruno's exploits in the second half?
I thought it was a joy to watch. You know what really pissed me off is that I don't watch Gillette Soccer Saturday very often for a reason, because I don't like the panel. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Jeff Stenning either. I think he can be quite negative at times. I know Newcastle fans say he looks out for us, but at times I don't think he supports us in the way he should. And it was the same again today. So Jeff Stenning specifically asked Paul Merson what Bruno Guimaraes' performance was like, and was he able to get into the game? And his answer was like, no, not really. He had one bit of magic where he had that shot that just went wide. Other than that, and I'm thinking, what game were you watching? That was your specific game that you were commentating on. For me, I watched Bruno Guimaraes. His range of passing is unbelievable. Some of the passes and some of the forward passes that were creating chances that you found in that short space of time on the pitch is something that we've been crying out for in our midfield. And he just opened the play. And you know what? He makes it look effortless. Yeah. That's him coming off the bench and influencing that game. Just imagine what it'd be like after a run of 6 games, playing 90 minutes on a regular basis. He has the ability to unlock defenses. He's so good on the board. He's tenacious. He gets around the pitch. He's got energy. He might not have the big physicality of the likes of Joelinton, but he gets around the pitch. He gets stuck in. He breaks up the play. He likes to get in the box as well when he can. If he's given license to, he'll get forward and create going forward as well. There was, I think, one chance that fell to him on the edge of the box, but the bounce wasn't quite right. So we kind of hoped towards the ball rather than being able to come onto it and strike it. But so you can see that he might have chances in the game. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was really, really good, and he really kind of continued is to allow us to have our possession on the game. Our possession was 63%, which, as I said to you guys a few weeks ago, with buying a player like Bruno Guimaraes will allow us to have more possession in the game. We're seeing that from Newcastle United now. But he maintained our possession. And the second thing is that he was able to keep those energy levels up and keep creating chances. I thought he was brilliant in that little short period of time. It was great to see.
I thought it was the perfect time for him to come on, because just before that was the time that they actually had their spell for 5-10 minutes when they started to get back in the game. They brought Bruno on, and he was able to take over the control of the game. Was that how you saw it as well, Daz?
Look, yeah, I do need to look back at it again, because there was a lot going on. They're doing a lot of multitasking at that stage in the game with the little lad as well. But like he is. I think the word Pete said there, effortless. That's what he looked like. Like he was able to. You can see that the quality in him, the passes, and he was buzzing around. I suppose he's coming on for the last half an hour. He had loads of energy then, but he was all over the place. Chasing down everything. So yeah, but I do want to look back at it again and get a proper analysis on it, Rich. But we'll see if he is able to break into the team for the next game against Brighton.
Yeah, definitely. So that was a fantastic 2-0 away result. 2-0 away, winning the Premier League is fantastic. But to get another away trip, that's we've just beat the Leeds. We've won at Leeds. We've also obviously won at Brentford. Now we got a good point away at West Ham, which bodes well, because going forward there's a proper togetherness here, and especially over the next few games, we've got some big away trips going on. So it's good to see all this togetherness, and that we can get results away from St James's Park as well, because as we know, St James's Park's become a bit of a fortress since the turn of the year, and it's back to how it used to be during the entertainers game. So what we'll do is, lads, we'll just touch on the table, because obviously it's a really good reading here. So Newcastle now, with that win, are up to 14th. So I'd say I think Watford and Norwich are down, and I think that Brentford and Everton could possibly get out of it. I think the two teams who are in dire straits at the moment are Leeds and Brentford. Leeds have now conceded 60 goals, 10 in the last 2 games. So lads, fantastic way it looks there for us going forward, heading into the Brentford game next week. And the form tables are fantastic reading as well. And if you look at this, we are second in the form table.
Wow.
14 points out of 18 games. There is only Liverpool in the Premier League who have got a maximum 18 points out of 18 above us in the table. That goes to show what a fantastic run we're on. And if you look down at the bottom, this is really good reading for Newcastle. Leeds, Brentford, 1 point out of the last 6. Everton, 3 points out of the last 6. Watford down as well. Brighton on a downward path.
Yeah.
We're heading in the right direction for our safety, what we need for next year. And the ones that we need to lose points aren't. So I think that looks great going on. Now, I know Mark's got his tea on the go. I know Pete's ready to go out with the lads tonight. That's why he's got his fresh trim today. So just to round off the show, Martin, your man of the match from what you've heard today, shall I say?
I haven't watched it fully, but from the bits I did see, I'm going to give it to Ryan Fraser.
Okay, so you've got for Ryan Fraser. Pete, you were lucky to have watched the game. Who did you make out was your man of the match? So as I said, Martin said he went for Ryan Fraser, who did have a fantastic game. Who was you give man of the match to, Pete?
Look, I completely agree with Mark. I think Ryan Fraser could quite easily be man of the match and probably will be given it. But I'm going to give a special kind of shout out to Matty Target. I thought Matty Target was fantastic today. Coming off that really bad challenge, I thought he controlled that left-hand side. He was very, very good again. Didn't put a foot wrong, but actually today he looked really good from an attacking intent. He got forward. He was the overlapping that he doesn't intend to even want the ball, but he just does it to take a defender out the game in order to create space for the likes of Ryan Fraser that's on the ball. I just thought he had a really, really good game, and he looks at home at Newcastle. He looks really comfortable. You look at his reactions after the game. He looks happy. He looks like he's enjoying his football, and he was unplayable down that side today. I thought he was very, very good.
Yeah. Daz, who was man of the match for you today, mate?
The 3 for me were Fraser, Target, and Char. Was another one I put in there. But I'm going to go with Pete as well and go for target. He took 2 big hits. It was like they're out to kill him at one stage. But no, like he's I think someone had it in the chat as well. He's underrated, and he's doing a great job for us. So, and it looks like he's been playing with us for years. So he's really come in and done really well. But yeah, I'm going to give him man of the match today. Target.
Okay, and just to round up, I'd like to say that man of the match for me I was between Ryan Fraser. I thought he was phenomenal, kept on running right to the end as he has been in recent weeks. But I think that the one reason why he was up there with one of the best was with his end product. The amount of quality balls he was putting into the box was fantastic. It's what we've been crying out for. But I'd also like to give a shout out to Joelinton. I know, as Pete said, he had a slow start. But I think once he got his goal, his confidence level just soared, and he just dominated that midfield. So for me, they were my 2 stands. But I think the good thing that shows
breaking news. Sorry, Richie.
Yeah, just breaking. I was just going to say, I think it goes to show that how fantastic that we've all picked different people, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it goes to show how fantastic all the teams performing at the minute. But yeah, we've got 2 bits of breaking news just to finish it on. Daz, you will start with yours first, then we'll move on to Martin's.
Just from Geordie Tune for Life saying Bielsa is sacked. So I haven't got my 2 sources to confirm that, but I'm sure someone else can confirm it.
I'll tell you later on, Daz.
Right, but
someone get a Sean on the blower.
Martin does have some breaking news, and it is a statement from Roman Abramovich.
It is, yeah. So the following statement has been published by Chelsea Football Club. Owner Roman Abramovich says, during my near 20-year ownership of Chelsea FC, I've always viewed my role as a custodian of the club, whose job is to ensuring that we are as successful as we can be today, as well as to build for the future, while also playing a positive role within the communities. I've always taken my decisions with the club's best interest at heart. I remain committed to those values. This is why, as of today, I am giving the trustees of Chelsea's charitable foundation the stewardship and care of Chelsea FC. I believe that currently they are in the best position to look after the interests of this club, its players, staff, and its fans. Roman Abramovich.
Daz, get that breaking news spanner up again.
Again. I see it in the background over Martin's shoulder. He doesn't see it yet.
And Man City have taken the lead at Everton.
Does it get any better?
No, get out of the way, Martin. I want to see it.
What a weekend. Chelsea have gone. The little shit from Leeds has been booted out, and City have scored.
Well, just on that one, I have just went and logged on to the Leeds Twitter while you were reading that statement out, and there's nothing from Leeds as yet. So unless it's just coming out from insiders, but there's been nothing made on the Leeds United website as yet. Okay. But there is is that the current table? There is it, Daz? So
hasn't updated yet, but that would.
So Everton will be back down to 23, is it? To 22, sorry.
I'll tell you now, because live score will be updated.
22.
Everton are 22, yeah.
I think what we'll do is, because obviously it hasn't updated yet, we know that Everton are on 22, but what a fantastic way to round off the show, to start off your Saturday evening. But lads, thanks for joining us on what is another momentous day for Newcastle. 7 games unbeaten. As we said at the start of the show, our best unbeaten run in the Premier League for over 10 years. So, Chippers, there we go. Another fantastic way to end the show. Chippers, thank you very much for becoming a member, mate. Much appreciated. But lads, let's just go and enjoy the rest of the weekend and roll on Brighton next week. So, as I said, thanks from me. A thanks from Mart, thanks from Pete, and a thanks from Daz. Thanks for joining us. Just to let you know what we've got coming up and what you can catch up on from this week. We had Kieran Maguire special on. If you want to look at that, we had some fantastic feedback on that regards to the inside of FFP. And I'm still waiting my calculator from the Kitty Daz, as you keep mentioning on Twitter, but I still haven't got it yet. You can catch it on the fantastic away day shows that Pete did on Thursday night with Besotted. And if you missed Loaded Mag last night, we can catch up on that as well. It was some fantastic previewing of the today's game with the lads. We do have a special lined up for Wednesday, and it is a new show going forward. So, Pete, I'll let you quickly give us a brief sum up of this, but we have got the main man from Newcastle World back, and that is Jordan Cronin. So, Pete, what's the crack with this new show, mate?
Yeah, so obviously by popular demand, really, because a lot of people were saying they really enjoyed the fully loaded transfer shows over the course of January. So yeah, and Jordan's happily agreed to come back, whether it be a week or 2 weekly basis, but he'll come back for Talk of the Toon. So talking all things Newcastle, everything that's happening in the world of Newcastle, but also looking at one or two of his exclusives that are coming out from within the club about various things, players and potential transfers in the summer, but also our rise in the league. So really looking forward to talking to Jordan and finding out all the goss and just talking about our current rise, because it's a good time. So we're going to ride the wave a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a massive coup for us as a channel. I know, Pete, you put a lot of hard work into that. Transfer shows we did in January were really good. But I have to say, from a channel perspective, I think adding Jordan into that on a week or 2 weekly basis, I think it's a massive statement from us as a channel in that we are one of the best channels out there. And we are bringing you everything. Yep. Oh, possible penalty for Everton. Hold on.
Go on, and but Mark, we'll let you have the breaking news on this one.
I don't know, Jeff. Was the biggest ever not?
I reckon they'll get it.
They do. This is looking a bit. Oh, hang on. No, he's.
Oh, no.
He's waved it away.
Woohoo.
Well, that's positive.
Everything's falling right this weekend.
There you go.
I tell you what, though, from those VAR. Oh, that's handball.
Yeah. I thought it was.
That's handball.
Oh. But that's what happens for VAR in the cartel, lads.
Yeah.
You know,
as well as that.
Anyway, boys, it's tea time.
We might come back and talk about this at some stage as well. There's a lot to talk about from George Collins's article. If you haven't read it, have a read of it. But we will be back to talk about it in some shape or form over the coming shows. So don't you worry about that.
But so, lads, as I said, 7 unbeaten. Guess what? That's how you do it. Oh.